Justine Tusoy, and my report is the continuation of Mr. Sende's report. What are the general guidelines in grading tests and performance tasks? Number 3, develop grading criteria. Grading criteria to be used in traditional tests and performance tasks should be made clear to the students. So, traditional tests like easy, multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, matching type, and true or false. Similarly, learners should be informed of the weight of each criterion. Grading criteria and weight should be applied fairly and consistently. A holistic and analytic rubric can be used to map out the grading criteria. So, dapat sa paghimo og mga test, dapat clear sa mga estudyante para makasabot sila sa kanang dali ra bitaw nila masabtan. Kay having a clear criteria can save time in the grading process, makes the grading process consistent and fair, communicates expectations for learners, and helps learner to understand how the learner work is graded. So number 4, inform learners what scoring method are to be used. So learners should be made aware before the start of testing whether their test response are to be scored on the number right, negative marking, or through non-conventional scoring method, such as learners will be guided on how to mark their responses during the test. Such instruction should be followed and applied consistently to every learner in the same class or in the same courses but different classes. So for example, ani kanang kuan, magpagama bitaw ang teacher og essay, di ba kahibaw naman taon sa unsa ang criteria sa paggama og essay, di ba? Aware na ta. So mo na example sa number 4, kanang magsuwat ta og essay kay aware na ta unsa ang mga criteria, unsay angay buhaton sa paggama og usa ka essay. So number 5, decide on what type of test course to use. So there are different ways by student learning can be measured and presented. Performance in a particular test can be measured and reported through row scores, percentage scores, criterion reference scores, or norm reference scores. So it is important that different types of grading scheme to be used for different tests, assignment, or performance tasks. So, naikalain-lain nga grading test ang atong gamiton para masukod nato ang learning o ang performance sa usa ka bata. So, mauto akong mga gipang-mention ganina nga mga test scores nga pwede gamiton para lagi masukod ang performance o ang learning sa usa ka students. So let's proceed to the what are the guidelines in grading easy test. So the following guidelines are: identify the criteria for the essay. So the criteria or standards for evaluating the essay should be predetermined. So predetermined means established or decided in advance. Some of the criteria that can be used to include content, organizations, format, grammar efficiency, development, and support, focus and details, and etc. So, importante nga ang imong specific standards or criteria kay relevant sa type nga performance sa imong gihatag or dapat ma-align siya bitaw sa gihatag nimo nga criteria sa usa ka essay sa paghimo og grading criteria. So the second one is determine the type of rubrics to use. So there are two basic types of rubric: the holistic and the analytical scoring system. So holistic rubrics requires evaluating the essay and taking into consideration all the criteria. So ang holistic kay kuande siya kay only one scale ra ang gamiton. So while analytical scoring requires that the essay is evaluated based on each of the criteria. It provides useful feedback on learners' strengths and weaknesses for its scores, content, or criterion. Ang analytical di ay pod kay works with multiple strands and score. So mga to ang differences sa holistic and analytic scoring. So the third one, prepare the rubric. So in developing rubric, the skills and competencies related to easy writing should first be identified. These skills and competencies represent the criteria. Then performance benchmark and point values are determined. So performance mark can be numerical categories, but the most frequently are used descriptors with corresponding rating scale. So ug mag-rate day ka og usa ka essay, dapat kinahanglan jud ka nga mag-prepare og rubric. Kay unsaon man nimo pag check sa usa ka essay og wa ka kahibaw sa rubric. So mao jud siya, importante kaayo nga mag-prepare ka sa rubric, usa ka mag-check og essay test. The fourth one, evaluate essay anonymously. So checking essay should be done anonymously. It is important that the rater does not identify whose paper he or she is rating. So importante pod nga mag-check ang usa ka rater or professional checker og isa ka essay nga wala siya bitaw kaila og kinsa iyang gi-checkan, kay basin og makaila na hinon siya wag kuan kanang nanay mahitabo nga favoritism og makaila siya og kinsa iyang gi-checkan. So the fifth one is score one easy question at a time. This is to ensure that the same thinking and standard are applied for all learners in the class, so the rater should not try to avoid any distraction or interruption while evaluating the same item. So ang rater di ay kinahanglan dili siya ma-distract sa pag-evaluate sa usa ka essay, para kinahanglan niya nga mo kanang mukuan ani mo, kinahanglan siya kanang dili siya ma-distract, dapat focus lang gid siya sa unsay iyang gi-checkan. Be conscious of own biases when evaluating the paper. So the rate should not be affected the learner's handwriting, writing style, length of response, and of other factors. He or she should stick to the criteria included in the rubric when evaluating the essay. So ang checker daw sa mag-check og isa ka essay, dapat dili ka ma-distract sa unsay agi, unsay forma sa iyang essay, kay ang imong gi-focusan is ang kanang criteria nga imong gigama. Dapat ang criteria nga imong gigama mao ra na imong focusan sa pag-check og isa ka essay. Review initial scores and comments before giving the final rating. This is important especially for essays that were initially given a barely passing or failing grade. So dapat i-review nimo, iguman nimo og check para bisag na ikuwang makuan nimo, mapun-an nimo, kay dapat mag-review man ka usa. I-review nimo tanan usa ka mahuman og check. Get 2 or more raters. For essay that are high stake, such as those used for admission, placement, or scholarship screening purposes, the final grade will be the average of all the ratings given. The last one, write comments. Next to the learner's responses, to provide feedback on how well one has performed in the essay test. So, di ba sa kinalasan og mag-check tag usa ka essay test, di ba mag-provide magitag feedback like nice ba iyang pagkagama sa test, na-align ba sa criteria nga imong gigama sa pag-check nimo sa essay test, or naa pa ba'y angay i-improve sa iyang pagama og essay test. So importante kayo og magama kag feedback sa usa ka essay test para ma-enhance og ma-enhance o makahibaw pa ang usa ka students nga ingani day kinahanglan day mo improve ko sa akong pagama og easy test. And that's all. Thank you.